I feel privileged to express my views in this august company about the experiment in Indian literary scenario and its impact on the readers. Experimentation is a trait of creators. Since creation is not merely recreating anything happening in the society, it is going beyond that. Creators' vision penetrates the layers of the present and deciphers the writing on the wall of future. That is why experiment is the hallmark of a creator. In the venerable muse of literature, this tendency to experiment with the form, content, and the medium can be frequently observed. In the field of English literature, particularly in the realm of fiction writing, one easily comes across several writers who have created magic on paper by experimenting with the prevailing style, content, and the ordinarily accepted format. In the post 2000 era, this new style of writing is making waves. To begin with, the doyen amongst the Indian novelists, Amitav Ghosh, in the first novel of his famous Ibis trilogy, Sea of Poppies, has successfully used the language used by the sailors and stowaways, coolies, and convicts during the voyage from across the Indian Ocean to the Mauritius island in the mid 19th century. It is a pleasant surprise to read it as a departure from the popular language form. Similarly, highly acclaimed novelist Kiran Desai, in her award winning novel The Inheritance of Loss, has resorted to local language, a mix of Hindi and Gorkhali, used by the common people residing there in and around Darjeeling to further strengthen her narrative. Not only this, but she has also used the language, a mix of American English and either Hindi or any regional language of India, to jot down any conversation among the illiterate and low profile Indian immigrants who had illegally entered the United States of America and worked largely in shabby restaurants over there. Another area of experimentation is that of the format. Recently, to quote an example, Jhumpa Lahiri, a renowned storyteller, has penned down a novel, Whereabouts, in Italian, which she has herself translated in English. This is a unique happening in the field of English literature. Moreover, the novel has 157 pages in total, which is spread out in as many as 46 chapters. Many chapters are confined to merely 2 pages. These chapters narrate even a single incident or philosophy or the thought process in the manner of diary writing. This is quite different in style as is in vogue among the writers. As far as experimentation in content is concerned, new themes have been developed and nourished by the writers of today. In her another novel, Lowland, Jhumpa Lahiri has used the migration as a topic of or her novel. At present, a couple of novels and short stories are being written on this theme. The migration raises many kinds of existential problems for the immigrants, who might be illegal immigrants also sometimes. Writing about their physical and mental problems with an empathetic insight is indeed challenging and fraught with danger. Such writings, if not written with balance, may cause confusion and bad blood among the two states. In the age of globalization, the phenomena of migration is catching attention of the writers worldwide. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this experimental spree is that the present crop of Indian women fiction writers have made successful forays into the political arena, portraying the turmoil and insecure ecosystem prevailing in the areas mainly focused in their stories. Whether it be Gorkhaland movement in Darjeeling and the surrounding areas, or the continuing unrest in Jammu and Kashmir, or the insurgency in Assam and Nagaland, these writers have not hesitated to narrate the field level stories with rare candor and sagacity. While Kiran Desai's novel, The Inheritance of Loss, has vividly described the nitty gritty of the Gorkhaland movement in Darjeeling and the adjacent areas, Sumana Roy's novel, Missing, is almost set in the uprising in Assam post Assam Accord. The Far Field is another scintillating novel by Madhuri Vijay in which the epicenter of the story is a small town in Kashmir infected by terrorism. Last but not the least, Arundhati Roy's novel, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, has spanned the whole territory of political turmoil, insurgency, and terrorism by narrating her tale, starting from Delhi to Kashmir, in her inimitable style. The most significant aspect of their writings is that everywhere the main protagonist is a young woman eager to take risks, putting her life in danger sometimes. While reading their novels, one feels the sensation of actual happening of the field. It appears that they themselves are describing the situations in the first person by remaining on the ground zero. Moreover, they are not afraid to factually present and analyze the situation without fear or favor. This indeed is a great departure from the past when the subject matter of most of the writers used to be social themes. There were scarcely any incursions into the political field. It amounts to altogether new experiment with the content and format of the novel writing in particular. Here, it is worth mentioning that amongst the women fiction writers in India, there is an apparent tendency to depict modern women as totally liberated, well aware, and self reliant, as opposed to the older picture of a woman dependent on their male counterparts for everything. They do not feel shy of using tough language, even the expletives, to deal with the troublemakers. She drinks, takes drugs as per her wishes, drives, and does all her marketing, etc., on her own. This is a welcome and fresh departure from the past riddled with worn out ideas and concepts about women. This is another striking form of experimentation in the field of English fiction writing. The next area of experiments is that of limiting the total number of characters in the novel. In many novels, there are one main protagonist and hardly 2 3 characters around whom the whole story revolves. In the original and popular form of novel writing, there is usually a bunch of characters and several stories are told simultaneously by the writer. So, this is also a significant departure. In her much acclaimed novel, Girl in White Cotton, Avni Doshi has woven her narrative mainly around a mother and daughter. In Sumana Roy's novel Missing, the story spins around only the husband and her missing wife, whereas a couple of characters register their presence in subsidiary roles. In this regard, it is also worth noting that these writers are using psychological ploys frequently to analyze the situation, person's mind, and the happenings in their writings. Many of their novels are full of such analysis, though there is a dearth of many characters to be dealt with. Not only this, but also they appear to be very hard working writers who put up a lot of research work in different branches of knowledge and let it be articulated by the characters of their writings. In her novel Lowland, Jhumpa Lahiri has explained the intricacies of oceanography and the German philosopher's averments in facile manner. Likewise, Avni Doshi in her novel Girl in White Cotton has put words in the mouth of the protagonist of her novel which expounds the cause of diseases and corresponding role of anatomy in easy to comprehend medical language. This is not confined to one or two writers only, rather, it encompasses almost the whole set of new writers of the present generation. Unknowingly, they are experimenting in the field of fiction writing, which may prove to be a double edged sword. Everything depends on the choice of readers, but fortunately, they are receiving the favor of them of late. In the realm of poetry, too, Such experiments are taking place in style and format. Now, there is no binding of lines format in a poem. They need not be written in any of the acknowledged form like quartet, triplet, and so on. Similarly, poems are being written without adhering to punctuation marks too, that is, no comma and no full stop. New metaphors are also being coined according to the prevailing social milieu. Thus, in the field of literature, this is an age of experimentation. The good thing is that people are liking it. Perhaps by doing it, the writers are fulfilling the long cherished need of the readers who always welcome the change. Let us wish for the sustenance of this spirit of experimentation for sufficient time because it is a reflection of a vibrant society and life throbbing humanity. Thank you.